was 100 years ago, on this very spot in southern England, that the sport of motocross was invented. March 1924, and the first time off-road bikes had ever competed against each other rather than in observed trials. And to mark that event, 100 years later, here we are with yet another race on this very hallowed ground. There's old bikes, there's new bikes, everyone's here to honour the history of motocross and scrambling as it was called in this great event. Let's have a look at some of the cool bikes.
The 1928 Velocette Model K. It was converted for sort of grass track scramble in 1930 and been in the same family more or less the whole of its life. I've got 25 Velocettes, bought it about 8 years ago, and no idea on the horsepower. 348cc, it's based on Veloc's overhead cam engine, which they won the TT in 26, 28, 29. It's going to be interesting to see. This is really its first meeting. It's really suck it and see.
What's the goal for today? What would you be happy
to finish? Do at least one lap. I walked a bit of the course last night and thought, this is going to be interesting, but we'll see. So it's once the adrenaline kicks in, you just get going. In its own way, it's an ideal event for this to bring this out.
Tough. Feels ridiculous. First ride in 8 years. That was tough.
Did you feel old?
I felt old.
Did you?
I felt right, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
How many laps have you done?
One. All of one.
And this is a professional, but when he was a teenager.
I had to stop for 10 minutes, put a bike up against the tree. I was like,
You can't, your hat is in your arms.
yeah, I'm just going to hold on. I was going down the hill and my hands were just going like that off the handlebars.
I bet you'll never do that.
Bought it new. I've done 3 hours on it. It's been under a sheet since for, well, yeah, 8 years. Great.
That's it.
Brilliant. Yeah. That's it.
He's knocked himself out already. Look.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep up with him. That's the trouble.
What happened?
Just missed the whole front wheel went down there and just hit the handlebars. Nutted it, so yeah. All good.
You got yourself out?
I think for a few seconds sort of thing, no, nothing bad sort of thing, no, you know, so yeah.
What's the track like?
It's alright actually, yeah, quite flowy, a bit tight in some places. Some of these old bikes will struggle up some of the hills, I think, but no, it's alright, it's dry. That's the main thing.
Proudfoot from Farnborough, and this is my 1982 Husqvarna CR430, which I've had for about 5 years now. When I got it, it looked great, but actually needed a lot of work doing on it. So over that time, it's gradually been rebuilt, and yeah, it's going well. And I'm hoping it's going to finish the event today in one piece.
Do you ride it all the time? Are you
I don't ride it very often. No, I did. The last time I rode it was the King of the Castle last year, and I didn't start it again until yesterday, and then it wouldn't start. It took me like an hour and a half to take all the electrics off and clean them up. Just a bit of sandpaper, and then it started. So yeah, but no, it's just a nice, simple bike, easy to work on, and you can get the spare still thanks to Andy Elliott, where I get all my stuff from. And no, it's a good bike, good fun to ride. I know the Whitley Club well, good bunch of guys, and the event was coming up, and I thought it'd be great fun. And yeah, they said to wear 1920s gear if possible, so I looked around in the garage and found old stuff in my man cave and give it a go. So. And these were my mum's sunglasses from the 1950s. So. I've ridden here, I've done enduros here in the past, and hello. And in the 80s, used to ride at the old Dean, the old practice track over there. So, which I think formed part of the track back in 1924. So.
I'm on a 1980 Yamaha IT-175.
On a 1982 Suzuki RM125.
It's it'll be an interesting event. It's nice to ride an old classic bike at times. Normally race modern bikes, so it'll be different, be entertaining. I've always liked classic bikes and cars, so it'll be a fun event and looking forward to it.
Celebrate the history of the sport, do a bit of, get to know everyone around the sport and do a bit of riding on classic bikes.
Basically, we got a Scrambler 1200 XC and tried to get as much weight off it as possible. Changed exhaust, changed the tyres, stripped all the lights, indicators, anything that we didn't need for today is gone. Probably saved about 15 kilos. So we got about 100 newton meters of torque, so hill shouldn't be a problem. Weight might be the enemy if it's a bit muddy. Rode it last weekend on a very muddy motocross track, which wasn't ideal. But it's good to work out a few things, you know, sharpened up the footrests and changed the rear tyre for something a bit more aggressive. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but they're better off-road than most people think. They're actually good off-road. Mud is the enemy, obviously the weight, so, but, you know, we'll see what comes. I've been riding since I was 15. I did my first enduro at 15, so that's 45 years ago. Done twin shock motocross, British Championship Supermoto for about 12 years. So yeah, done trials, pretty much anything out there on two wheels I've had a go at. Mostly Supermoto in the later years, because as you get older the enduros are a bit hard work. But I had said I'd retired from this, but because obviously trying to get back into the off-road scene, I'm heading up the off-road stuff at Triumph West London. Triumph were involved originally, so they give me the honour of number 100. So we're sponsoring the event as well. You know, we sponsored the trophies and things like that. So get involved, get Triumph on the map in the off-road scene again. Great.
Yeah, I think it is the perfect bike for a bit of woods riding, really.
But yeah, I snapped the gear lever because the ruts were quite deep. Had a couple of offs. But, well, I'll try and get a few more laps in this afternoon. Okay. It's a BSA Gold Star 500, 1957. Built it up out of bits and bobs, trying to get it as competitive as I can. So much work, honestly, to get it here. Worked on it all day yesterday till 10 o'clock at night. Done various modifications. I bought the frame off of a chap called Robin Humphries, who was REH, made the wheels and the forks back in the sort of 60s and 70s. So I was lucky enough to buy the frame and the air cleaner off of him. I originally built a B33 engine, which broke. Then I built a DBD engine, if you like. It was on B31 casings. We tend to use B31 casings and modify them to fit the big fin top end, but I was lucky enough to buy a set of DBD casings, but they'd been broken, so we've welded them and we've got a bike. It's a brand new barrel, got an Omega piston, BTH new electronic mag, custom made exhaust. I've made my own carbon fibre engine plates. It's really great to ride, no two ways about it. It's hard work, but just trying to get the suspension and the wheels sorted out. No, I think they're all for using, aren't they, these bikes?
Well, I'm known as the first British woman to motorcycle around the world. I rode around from 1982 to 1984 on a BMW 600. In those days, I would probably say about 30% of it was off-road. I never expected so many people to be here, so it's brilliant. But I need to wander around. Apparently I've got to judge the best dressed person and give, so I can award the prize.
Well, it's the 100th anniversary of the first ever motorcycle scramble, so we're trying to promote Camberley as the birthplace of motocross, which has grown into this multi-million-pound industry all over the world. But it's a debate, an ongoing debate, but there is proof that you can trace it right back to this, where we're standing now, in 1924, on the 29th of March, the first ever motorcycle scramble happened here. Because at the time they were doing trials, but there were certain rules, like you're not supposed to put your foot down and things like this. Whereas a scramble is basically the fastest round the course, and there's not really any rules as such, And a lot of the bikes in those days weren't really built for it, so they kind of disintegrated. And a local man called Arthur Sparks won the first ever scramble and riding a Scott motorcycle, and we've got a couple of them here today on show. So yeah, it's kind of a unique event because it's sort of historical, but also an actual proper race as well. So yeah, it's the modern bikes, because it is a proper event. It's a real scramble again. And the old bikes for the history side, and some of the old bikes will also be competing or just being on show for the public to see. There's examples of the type of bike that would have been around at that time. So the course for the older bikes is a bit less extreme. At the moment it's a one-off. We won't be here in 100 years for the next one, so I don't know. But there used to be a lot of scrambling in this area, but not so much nowadays. But I don't know, it depends on whether we can lease the land from the MOD and that kind of thing. So who knows? We'll have to see. If this is a great success, maybe, I don't know.